How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
Hey, Fidelity. How can I remember to invest every month?
With the Fidelity app, you can choose a schedule and set up recurring investments in stocks and ETFs.
Oh, that sounds easier than I thought.
You got this.
Yeah, I do. Now, where did I put my keys?
You will find them where you left them.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Finished training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more.
Have you ever wondered how your body naturally repairs and rejuvenates itself? It all comes down to your stem cells, your body's built-in repair system that renews tissue, restores balance, and helps you feel your best. But by age 30, you have up to 90% fewer stem cells in circulation. That's where StemRegen comes in. Founded by stem cell scientist and health pioneer Christian Drapeau, StemRegen products are designed to support your body's natural repair system by using science-backed, plant-based extracts. Just 2 capsules of StemRegen releases an average of 10 million of your own stem cells into your body. No injections, just 2 capsules. Empower your body to rejuvenate from within, whether you're focused on recovery, longevity, or just overall wellness. StemRegen can help release more of your health, more life, and more of the best version of you. Try it now at stemregen.co and use code POD15 for 15% off your first order. That's StemRegen, code POD15.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
This season on The Dream.
Supplies are being provided by nurses who run out in the middle of the night and purchase diapers, but a hospital is still charging as if they still have these items.
We are digging into every topic we've ever wanted to cover on this show.
It's a spinning plate analogy. The second that you stop spinning those plates, that crashes. So you can never stop working.
The Dream Season 4 comes at you weekly starting Monday, January 20th.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
You guys, welcome to another episode of What's Your Issue? I am Troy McEady.
And I'm Dara Lane Sussman.
And we are taking a journey from 1987 all the way to 1997 with this week's issue. We are in November of 1997, the 14th to be specific. And I'm so excited for this. We're doing an Entertainment Weekly today. This is our first Entertainment Weekly. And I don't think I realized until you and I started recording together how much I love this magazine. But I think I might love it more now as an adult than I could have ever loved it as a teenager because it's just much more mature.
My parents got Entertainment Weekly for many, many years. And I loved it. I also loved, they don't have it in the back of this one, unfortunately, but I loved the little bullseye at the end.
I texted Dara, I was overwhelmed with the amount of potential articles to talk about in this magazine. Like, there are so many fun blurbs. I forgot that they do those really cool, like Mozart doodle drawings of celebrities that I literally want. I was like, damn, I got to figure out a way to get these framed because they are so cool. There's just so much interesting, fun pop culture in Entertainment Weekly. I just forgot. Like, it's a really cool magazine. And it's interesting because it's like Entertainment Weekly kind of served as like a Twitter feed or something. Like, this is a pre-social media, like what is going on this week? What's the cool stuff to go see at the movies? what shows are people watching that are cool. There's movie reviews, there's album reviews. It's like a weekly Bible of like how to stay like in the know of like the cool stuff that's happening. Should I reveal who was on the cover of this magazine?
Troy, hold thine horses. I haven't asked you the question.
Oh my God, please. Yes.
Sorry, everyone. We're still in beginning stages.
I got too excited. Oh my God.
Pull it back. Calm yourself. Get a grip.
Okay, I'm pulling it back.
Troy, what's your issue?
Well, my issue is Entertainment Weekly. It's the November 14th, 1997. But what you guys don't know, I can't believe that I got so excited that I revealed it as soon as I started. You can tell that I'm like really into this one.
Troy, I couldn't be less surprised that you were so excited that you just barreled on through. That feels on brand.
No,
that's squarely in the brand.
I am giving bull in a china shop, but it's okay because what you guys don't know is that none other than Jennifer Love Hewitt is on the cover of this magazine, and the headline is "The New Teen Age: How the Next Generation of Young Stars is Sparking a $1 billion Boom in Hollywood." It's funny, like we had a Brat Pack conversation last week, and this issue is very much meet the new Brat Pack in a sense.
It's a perfect continuation.
So we have Jennifer Love Hewitt looking absolutely stunning. This is like peak I Know What You Did Last Summer era J-Love. We also have Sarah Michelle Gellar on the cover because there is no cover of a magazine in 1997 that she's not on the cover of. We have Hanson, and we also have Miss Brandy, who at the time was going by Brandy Norwood, full name. Moesha's on TV. Mbop is a single. Sarah Michelle Gellar is Buffy. Like, it is a beautiful time.
I mean, this was a time to be alive, a formative era.
We are I can't believe that we experienced this in real time. Like, when I was going through this, I was like, God, this is my childhood? Like, Jesus Christ, you know?
How do we get so lucky?
No, like, literally. And I was also thinking, too, 1997 is an extremely interesting year. I follow this YouTube channel called Honest, and he does these, like, think pieces about pop culture that are really, really interesting. And he did one about, like, the miseducation of Y2K and how so many people misinterpret Y2K and so many people think that, like, anything that happened in the 2000s is Y2K. And it's funny to examine this time period, like, right before. 97 is like a very odd time. Like, we don't realize that the Spice Girls are kind of about to end. We're right on the cusp of culture changing so much.
Mm-hmm.
But 97 is somehow still like firmly planted in the 90s, whereas like late 98, 99 feels completely different.
All of our actors that are in this in 1999, they feel a little more on the cusp of adults, almost aging out of the teen dream archetype. We're all on a precipice. It's about to be Y2K.
Yep.
And everything is about to change.
Everything's about to change. And like pop music too, specifically, there's a pop music conversation in this art or in this magazine. And like, we don't realize like the Spice Girls breaking up is the end of, it's like the end of a certain era of pop music, but the beginning of a new, because like we're about to be introduced to Britney in like a year. It's just such like a fine line moment. It's very like, in A Walk to Remember when he takes her to the border and they're standing in two states.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's what it feels like. It's like standing in 2 decades at once, being in 1997. So of course we have to start with letters to the editors. As you guys know, we're working on segments, and one reoccurring segment that we definitely want to lean into no matter what magazine we're doing is the letters to the editors. And also for these entertainment, like kind of like Hollywood issues, we also want to do reviews of old films. So that'll be a segment that you see reoccurring, like when we're doing entertainment weeklies and stuff like this. But starting with the letters to the editors, which are always very entertaining.
And also, just to remind everyone, we want to incorporate you, the audience, into our letters to the editors. You write into us in the style of a letter to the editor. Any old episode, whenever you're listening to it and you have a thought, write in. We'd love if you did it as a review, but only if you accompany it with 5 stars. You can be critical of something we said, but you got to give us 5 stars.
We're begging. Again, we are a new show and we're trying to get out there, but appreciative of all the people that have reviewed so far and given us 5 stars. You guys have all been very kind. And yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait for people to start sending in letters to the editors. Like, that's like, it's a childhood dream come true, to be honest with you. So this week's letter to the editor is from Jason Nyberg, and he said, as a formerly enthusiastic subscriber, I want to congratulate you on finally printing the issue We Can't Show Our Mothers with that S&M cover, the sleazy Charlize Theron layout, and the titillating remarks about Mark Wahlberg's genitalia. You've certainly lived up to your name in portraying Hollywood for what it is, sexually delusional, morally void, and pathetically pretentious.
And thank God for that.
Right. And like, just to let you know, there is going to be some Boogie Nights conversation. That's why he mentioned Mark's genitalia, because we're at the height of Boogie Nights era Mark Wahlberg, where we could still all enthusiastically like him and it wasn't embarrassing. So we go straight from letter to the editor to page 6, which is like one of my favorite articles that we will cover so far on this show. It's titled Leave It to Diva. Again, this is like, if you want to know the drama that's gone on in the entertainment industry throughout the week, like Entertainment Weekly really is for that. I don't know if you remember this being like a moment, but Whitney Houston was supposed to appear on the Rosie O'Donnell show to promote a Cinderella story. No, not a Cinderella story. Cinderella. Yeah.
Wow, can you imagine that Cinderella story? Honestly, would have loved to have seen it.
Hillary and Whitney, a duet, I can't even fathom.
Completely matching talents, you know?
You wouldn't even be able to tell their voices apart.
No, it would actually be quite confusing.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do it. But this whole thing revolves around Whitney Houston, who very famously was supposed to appear on the Rosie show, and she didn't show up. The drama of it all is that not only did she not show up, but the same night she went to a taping of David Letterman with Bobby Brown, and she was supposedly sick, and that was the reason she didn't show up. She said that her throat was swollen, she couldn't talk, she was vomiting, but somehow she was able to make it to a Letterman taping like just a few hours later. And Rosie was not happy. The Queen of Nice, literally the entire episode of the Rosie O'Donnell show, like made fun of Whitney. Like the whole time she just like berated her on national television, and it became a big thing. It really like made headlines.
Well, when I read this, the first thing that I thought of was, did you ever watch Oprah's 25th anniversary season?
Of course, Dara. Are you kidding?
I knew you would have. That's again, I feel like every time we ask each other something like this, it's 90% of the time like, shut the fuck up. Of course I have. Don't insult me.
It's giving, is the Pope a Catholic?
Yeah. When Jennifer Hudson flies out of town to do a private thing on a jet, and then she can't fly back in because of a Chicago snowstorm, and Oprah is fucking bullshit. It's a big deal to just skip out on a talk show like this. Not good.
It's not good, and it's also very interesting because were you a Rosie girl?
Troy, I had the Rosie doll. I was obsessed with Rosie. Obsessed. I watched it every day.
Okay, so then you'll understand this. Like, there were these moments where, much like Ellen, where the facade of Rosie O'Donnell would crack publicly. Not to the point that it would like ruin her career or anything like that, but you would just see these moments where it was like she showed her true colors. And we know Rosie now to be combative and obsessive, and you know, if somebody wrongs her, you're going to hear about it for months or years. But we didn't really know her that way at this time. We would only see little glimmers of it when certain things would happen. And the fact that she berated Whitney the entire episode is like so Rosie, but like she had to present it as like this silly goofy thing. But Rosie was fucking mad. This is like kind of a short article, so I'm gonna read a good amount of it. But, like, you can just tell, like, this is, like, the View Rosie shining through.
You know, at this time, she's still closeted.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen the real Rosie yet, but we're seeing glimmers through the cracks.
And I also think it's important to note that in my spirit, in my mind, what I've always assumed is that, you know, obviously Whitney was, like, sort of quasi in the lesbian scene. Like, she was hanging out with the girls, you know? Obviously, Rosie and Whitney had a relationship, a friendship, if you want to call it that, outside of being on a talk show together. So there's like that layer as well.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because Rosie did an interview on a podcast like a few years ago, and she talks about this incident. And then she also talks about how, you know, she thinks that part of Whitney's difficulties were her kind of like having to hide that part of herself. And I do wonder how much of that awareness was there at this time, like between Rosie and her.
Yeah.
Were they out there at the lesbian bars just sort of like winking at each other from across?
Right. Like what I see in my mind is them both at like a KD Lang party or something, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm sure Whitney has seen Rosie has seen Whitney all fucked up at a party, and, you know, Whitney knew the real kind of bitchy, cunty bully that is Rosie O'Donnell. Like, there's this layered, this second layer to their relationship that you have to read between the lines to really pick up on, but it makes it even more interesting. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this article. It says, "It is the best of times, it is the worst of times, at least if you're Whitney Houston. With the success of her November 2nd Cinderella special on ABC, the 34, by the way, hello.
Troy, I
hello.
Stopped also when I was 34. Oh, no. Oh, my God.
34, already a mom, older than me, or younger than me at this moment. I can't even deal with it. The 34-year-old pop princess should be riding higher than those soaring F sharps in I Will Always Love You. But although the 2-hour fairy tale, which Whitney Houston executive produced as well as starred in, gave the network its best Sunday night in 10 years, beating such heavyweights as CBS's Touched by an Angel and Fox's The Simpsons and King of the Hill Block, Houston's triumph was tempered by a messy contretemps with Rosie O'Donnell earlier in the week. And as anyone in Hollywood can tell you, it's not nice or prudent to anger the queen of nice. What ticked off Rosie O'Donnell was Houston's last-minute no-show on The Rosie O'Donnell Show. Houston had been slated to hype Cinderella on the program October 30th, the first day of November sweeps. But at 9:15 a.m., according to sources, 45 minutes before the show was to air live, Houston bagged her appearance, citing an incapacitating stomach flu. That abrupt cancellation had the normally effusive O'Donnell seeing red. Quote,
"She's ill.
Oh, shoot.
I hope she's very ill." At like 9:15, they said she wasn't coming for a 10 o'clock show. I'm like, what? Get out of bed, girl. Come on down, 30 Rock, live TV.
A guest like Whitney Houston's cancellation 45 minutes before a live show is the equivalent to a 747 crashing a minute before airtime on a news program, sympathizes as a producer of other daytime talk shows. You're caught with your pants down. This is how producers earn their stomach lining. Oh yeah, it definitely screwed up the show, O'Donnell told EW. We had to stretch out the end. We had to sit down talk segment with Cinderella actor Paolo Montalban, who was not scheduled to speak. It threw everything off. I've been in live TV for a year and a half, and I've never missed a show. Most people show up, especially when they have a movie that they're producing and starring in to sell. Houston added insult to injury later in the day by accompanying husband Bobby Brown when he appeared on a taping of The Late Show with David Letterman. She was feeling better, says publicist Lois Smith, who represents both Houston and O'Donnell. This is very important. She went with Bobby to give him her support. She felt she would get in and get out without anybody noticing. It was a stupid thing to do. So this article goes on to talk about how Rosie was so angry that this happened that she actually tried to have the publicist, Lois, fire Whitney. Now, that's the kind of stuff that Rosie O'Donnell in 1997 does not want out publicly.
No. I do love, though, I feel like it would be one thing if Whitney just didn't go and then left it at that. That's at least some plausible deniability that you were sick. It is so cunt to be like, and, oh, I'm feeling better.
It's so Whitney. Whitney was such a badass. She really just did whatever the fuck she wanted, and she suffered no fools.
No, she did not.
And it's just such a Rosie O'Donnell thing to try and get Whitney dropped by the publicist and then publicly be like, it didn't bother me that much. But this is followed by another appearance from Whitney not that long after.
All right, now. What? All right. What do you got? What do you got? I have a note from my mother. You know how when you go to school and you miss a day? Yeah. Well, my mommy wrote me a note. Your mom, Sissy, wrote? Yes. All right. Can I read it now? The big Sissy wrote you a note, yes.
Dear Rosie, please excuse Whitney for missing the show. She had a virus and was throwing up. Thank you. Her mommy, Sissy Houston. Well, there you have it.
What was it? What did you have? What were you? I had what you had.
You had the barfs?
I had the barfs, man. I had the fevers. I had the swollen glands, and I was just not cool.
Were you watching the show?
Yeah.
You did?
Here I am. I'm laying in the bed, and I'm going, oh, God, she's going to kill me. I know it. And I turn on the television, and I'm watching Rosie.
Your friend?
My Irish sister.
Yeah.
And she's dissing me hard. I will always hate you, you know.
Oh, Whitney.
Yeah, I heard it all. I heard all the jokes, but, you know, it's cool.
Yeah, they, like, play nice with each other, but it's crazy watching that, knowing that, like, Rosie tried to get her dropped from their publicist.
It's nuts watching that, knowing what was actually happening with Whitney. Like, this sort of charade of, yes, I did have a little stomach bug.
Yeah, I guess it's also important to note that, so this is like around the time that The Preacher's Wife had just come out, which was like critically panned, not Whitney's best work. And on the set of, Whitney actually had to take time away from filming The Preacher's Wife because she had OD'd at that time. And this was like a really, really intense time for her. Like, she's doing the Cinderella thing, she's doing The Preacher's Wife, she's also doing the soundtrack for The Preacher's Wife. And there was all this pressure to, you know, even though the soundtrack by any artist's standards was successful, at that point Whitney had become known for doing movie soundtracks that would like become really iconic. And there was just a lot of pressure. And I mean, when you watch the clip, I mean, she seems like she's struggling, you know, she's on one.
To Rosie's credit, I do feel like she's sort of meeting her energy in a way that makes it doesn't feel necessarily too cringe. But also in the podcast that I was talking about that Rosie was in a few years ago, and who knows if this is true, but she said that she was talking to, I think she was talking to Robin, her alleged potential life partner, that this incident was sort of like a landmark situation with all the people around Whitney. They were like, okay, things are really out of control. We need to help her. I mean, you'd think that the OD would spark that. So who knows how true it is, but
I mean, I could see that. I wouldn't say it's the beginning of the bad press, but it's the beginning of Whitney doesn't show up. Whitney's always late. Whitney isn't responsible. Whitney's voice may not be on par when she shows up, like, which was like, she had been worked like such a slave for so many years and always been the good girl that smiles and shows up and does the thing and wears the gown and performs and has the beautiful voice. And this is when she started kind of like rebelling in a sense. And it only got worse, like the not showing up and the showing up late and the public firings. You know, a few years later, she was very famously fired from performing at the Oscars, and it was a huge, huge deal. It was like such a big like meteor hitting her career. It's just sad. Like, I think that the Preacher's Wife era is like, it's the end of a certain era of Whitney Houston and the beginning of a new, because we're entering 2000s Whitney, which we all know what that means, you know?
Yeah, it's just like what you were saying at the beginning. We're just about to tip over into that new pop culture time.
Oh, I miss Whitney Houston. I forgot, by the way, that you and I had recorded that Being Bobby Brown episode for Dunzo.
Oh, that was so fun. I loved that. Because I watched that when it was on, and I loved it. It almost felt like a show that I dreamt because they just buried it because it was exploitive.
Just a little bit.
Just a twitch.
So we move on to page 10. There are two just tiny little articles on this page that I thought were really interesting. The first one is called Spice Check. It's an article about basically how Entertainment Weekly is shocked that the Spice Girls are still famous. And, you know, I just recently watched another, you guys will discover, if you don't know already, that I love a YouTube, not documentary, but I love like a think piece. Like I love...
Oh, like a video essay.
A video essay is like one of my favorite things. I've just watched this video essay about the Spice Girls and how they were treated by the media. And I think maybe because I was so young, first of all, I was so young and living in America, not in the UK. So I didn't really have any understanding of how bad the media treated the Spice Girls and how shittily they were talked about and sexualized and groped, and the obsession with their weight, the race conversations about Scary Spice, and people talking openly about wanting to fuck Emma because she's a baby girl, like just really gross stuff.
I feel like there was also a lot of stuff against Jerry and maybe also Scary about their sexuality, and because things were coming out about that.
Yeah, and everybody thought that Sporty was lesbiana.
Listen, true girl, if you're gonna have true girl power, have some true girl power. Go all the way, baby.
Hello. I mean, like, shouldn't there be a lesbian in the group?
There's gotta be.
It says, suddenly they're everywhere. Forgive us for sounding surprised, but we figured the Spice Girls 15 minutes would have been over hours ago. Instead, the Spice Girls wagon rolls on. How long can these starred tartlets, and then in parentheses it says starlets, continue storming the pop culture radar screen? To keep tabs, we've decided to chart their relative spiciness. We define it as exposure times attitude. The past few weeks have been a royal time for the Spice Ones. First, the single from the group's sophomore album, Spice Up Your Life, debuted in the UK at number 1, booting Elton John's tribute to Princess Diana out of the top spot. Then, the girls journeyed down to South Africa for a benefit concert. Who benefited? Well, judging from the starstruck smiles on their face, it was concert attendee Prince Harry who went backstage to sidle up to Baby Spice and hold hands with Posh Spice. Then again, it could have been South African President Nelson Mandela, who reportedly said of meeting the group, quote, "This is one of the greatest moments of my life. Everyone take a deep breath."
Nelson's an ally.
Nelson is one of the girls. He said, girl power, equalization between the sexes, you know what I mean? I'm just like, this is so silly. And the obsession with, like, a young Prince Harry getting kisses on the cheeks from pop stars, like, this was written about in different contexts so many times. There's also a clip, not a very famous clip, but there is a clip of Baby Spice and I want to say, yeah, it was Victoria. It was Emma and Victoria doing, like, red carpet stuff. I want to say for, like, E! Or something. And they interviewed Donald Trump. And he literally, when I tell you, he groped Emma on camera. She, like, hits his hand away. He does it again. He puts his hand underneath her, like, butt, basically, and, like, goes underneath her dress. And the whole time she's, like, squirming and pushing him away and, like, trying to basically run away from him. That's how they were treated. And they talked a lot about how, like, Emma specifically got it really bad because she was the most sexualized of that group. But in my mind as a kid, Jerry was the most sexualized. But I'm like, no, Jerry was a ball-busting feminist. People weren't coming up and groping her. They were groping Emma.
Yeah, I think in our little kid heads, what stuck out was that period where the photos were leaked.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't you know, Mr. Hugh Hefner put Jerry's nude pictures that she had taken before she was famous, he put them in Playboy without her consent.
Of course he fucking did. I did not know that. You know who makes me the most sad is Victoria. The way that Victoria Beckham was treated, first of all, another thing that I never realized or ever put together is that Victoria was, like, really not liked as a Spice Girl. They put together this compilation of her talking about how, like, she was the least desirable because she was seen as boring because she wasn't, like, a drag queen. And it just is so sad to, when you watch the span of, like, at the beginning when she's, like, this outspoken, jovial, funny, sarcastic. I mean, Victoria Beckham has a sense of humor that is as sharp as a knife. She's hilarious. And she used to smile and be bubbly and vulnerable. And really, over time, it was like the press sort of chiseled away at her confidence to the point that she was emaciated and no longer would smile because they told her that she had ugly teeth. She would go on talk shows and they would ask her to stand on a scale. She had said at some point that they hired, like, this specific kind of special forces team because she specifically was getting so many death threats. I don't know, like, we just didn't really understand Spice Mania in America the way we thought we did.
What's interesting about that is I remember the least, like, Spice Girl was Sporty.
Right.
Just in our very heteronormative little doopy minds. Or like, she's wearing sneakers. When we play Spice Girls, I don't want to be sporty.
See, in my neck of the woods, all of the athletes wanted to be sporty. It was like, if you played soccer, if you played volleyball, if you did if you were in karate classes, you were an athlete and you wanted to be sporty because she wears hoodies or something.
Okay, see, I was not a part of that group of people.
How did I lose my way? Why was I a part of that? Ew.
I was a part of sit in your room and go through a magazine and make out to pictures of Leonardo DiCaprio and J14. Those were my compatriots.
I was in the wrong crowd. I should have been hanging out with your friends. There's also this really amazing article. This is just a quick little aside. There's an article underneath that one that's titled Burning Question. And the question is it us or are the 4 kids, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, stalked by the Gordon's fishermen? And apparently there was a lot of discourse at the time that the killer looked like the Gordon's fisherman.
That's a Gordon's fisherman. Is that the jingle?
Yeah.
I do remember this discourse, actually. When I read this, I was like, whoa, oh yeah. Like it unlocked something.
There's a quote that says, "What resemblance? The Gordon's fisherman is a kind and honorable man. Obviously, there's no relation," says senior marketing manager Jody Nedrow Coynahan. Besides, the Gordon's fisherman wears a yellow slicker. Summer's villain sports a dark green. Anyone in non-yellow would be a fisherman imposter. I just love that Entertainment Weekly went as far as to speak to the head of Gordon's to get a quote.
Now that's journalism.
No, like literally. And it's like a specific kind of Entertainment Weekly journalism. Like it's just so niche and ridiculous. I love it.
What if they were like, actually, yeah, we have this whole backstory and lore of Mr. Gordon, and he's a fucking son of a bitch.
The fish sticks are human body.
Oh, what a great twist.
Kevin Williamson did say that there was a line that they had to take out of the movie where Sarah Michelle Gellar says, when she's talking about going to the parade, says Williamson, she says, "I'm supposed to look for the fish stick guy?" Which, like, I can hear Sarah Michelle Gellar doing that line in my head, and it's like, I wish they would have kept that in.
Okay, speaking of Nelson Mandela, are you familiar with the Mandela effect?
I am.
When I read that, there was my own personal Mandela effect, where I was like, no, that was in the movie.
Yeah. I had the same thing. I was like, no, yeah, when she's at, like, I felt like I had heard it. Maybe because my consciousness is Sarah Michelle Gellar's voice, so everything, I think she's said everything.
That's a very good point.
So we're now entering our main article, which is on page 24, and it's titled Teen Steam. And this is the sexy new young Brat Pack. A youth quake is blowing the lid off of Hollywood, Dara. Are you even ready for it?
Get in your basement. Yeah. I hope you have water and dry food goods.
Everybody get in the tub. So we have just to give you guys a visual, we have a young Brandy Norwood, we have Jared Leto, we have Hanson, Melissa Joan Hart, the Party of Five cast, and then some very tawdry photos of Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Especially Sarah. She looks like it looks like her mother took those, like, before she got famous, as like, ooh, look at me, I can be sexy too, and sent them out to agents.
No, like literally. It's giving dance mom's routine that's too mature for the girls.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
She's like straddled over this chair. And then we also, of course, have Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes and Romeo and Juliet. There's a little photo of I Know What You Did Last Summer. This article not only is about like the new generation of young stars, but it also talks about how in the new generation, in this new era of Brat Pack, the content is more mature and that teenagers demand more mature content thanks to Aaron Spelling and 90210. So movies like Scream and shows like Buffy, Moesha, they don't talk down to the teenager. And I think that's true. I think that that's something that really separates and like defines this content, like this sort of teen-centric content that we were being given at the time, was that it didn't talk down to us. Like, Cruel Intentions is smart. It's a smart movie, and no matter how you look at it, it's intelligent and smart and funny and witty, and a 40-year-old could watch it the same as a 15-year-old and be really inspired by it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to read a little bit from this article. I thought there was some really... Sorry, there's like a 5150 going by. Freaking New York, man.
New York City.
Jesus, there's an ambulance every 2 seconds.
Oh, I love New York.
I miss the old New York.
I'm a 313 girl. Or whatever code it was.
212, but I only know that because of Azealia Banks. So I'm going to read a little bit from this article. I thought there were some really, really interesting points that I want to touch on. The good news for our adolescent successors is that teen entertainment booms, like all cultural trends, are a cyclical business. Sooner or later, history will repeat itself. And, indeed, in the last few years, TV has become ground zero for a new batch of talented and, coincidentally, extremely photogenic young actors populating such youth-driven shows as Party of Five, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Moesha, Seventh Heaven, Teen Angel, which I don't know if I know what that is. What's Teen Angel?
I believe it was on TGIF. I think it was only like 2 seasons. It's about this kid. He dies in a car crash, and then he sort of like, it's like a buddy show between his angel ghost and his friend.
Oh, okay.
I loved it.
How did I forget about that? And it was on TGIF, and I don't remember. That's crazy.
Yeah, TGIF. I was a big TGIF head.
Well, Teen Angel, and not to forget Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And then it says, music, traditionally the first medium to fire off the rounds of any new revolution, is following suit, with 15-year-old Leanne Rimes recently occupying the #1 spot on Billboard 200. And such teen-friendly acts as Aqua. They of course have the hit Barbie Girl, the Spice Girls, Hanson, Fiona Apple, Backstreet Boys, and Jewel all packed into the top 40. Can I just say that I think it's insane, and it reminds me a lot of a conversation you and I had about Amy Winehouse, where I'm like, in what world was Fiona Apple included in the teen music? They tried to make her a pop star so bad, and it's like, she couldn't be more adult contemporary, regardless of the fact that she was 16. She couldn't have been more adult contemporary VH1. Like, why is she in the same category as Hanson?
I thought that was strange as well, though I will say, I feel like she does work for teenage girls as far as like Lana Del Rey, like for moody teenage girls.
Yeah.
The little Claire Danes and all of us.
Yes.
But she does, even so, to put her in the same breath as Hanson or a show on TGIF, like, she's not accessible to young teens.
It's so insulting. Like, she's like singing songs about being sexually assaulted, and you're putting her in the same category as Teen Angel.
Bizarre.
It's like,
really bizarre choice.
And then they say ditto at the box office, where in the wake of Scream's $103 million haul, the high school slasher fic I Know What You Did Last Summer is in its third week at #1 with a $45 million box office gross so far. Just a comparison, the 1989 teen hit Heathers pulled in a $1.1 million hit. Scream 2 opens December 12th, and a Last Summer sequel begins shooting in March. The continuation of that is, behind the teen face of this revolution is an army of 30-somethings wallowing in a steamy, hormonally charged gymnasium of arrested development. High school... Yeah, I know.
That feels personal.
No, like...
Entertainment Weekly... Come on.
I was like, damn, twist the knife, why don't you? Ruin my satin shoes, why don't you? Wallowing in a steamy, hormonally charged gymnasium of arrested development, high school is what relates all my work, says Kevin Williamson, the screenwriter behind Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Quote, I'm 32 and I write for kids because I'm still a kid. Furthermore, in respecting, even wanting to live vicariously through their audience, Williamson and his writing and producing teams also avoid the pitfalls of talking down to them. And they also mention, I think that this is like imperative, because first of all, they say that because of 90210, you know, it ushered in this whole generation of like highbrow teen content. But the one show that really like got fucked at the end was My So-Called Life, because it came out 2 years prior to this highbrow, let's not talk down to teenagers content, and people didn't understand it. But if My So-Called Life had come out around the same time as like Moesha, could you imagine? My So-Called Life is still to this day, I think, one of the most brilliantly written shows I've ever watched. Claire Danes' commentary in that show is so, like, I watched it a couple years ago again to do an episode about it on Dunzo, and it is just so, it's incredible. It's aged like wine. Claire Danes in that show is so Gen Z coded, but they also make a point to say the VP of programming at WB, Suzanne Daniels, she said, quote, "We don't want to make Roseanne, but we do want to make Roseanne from Darlene's perspective."
Oh, I will also say in that paragraph, they mentioned Clueless, the TV show. Have you ever seen it?
Oh, yes.
I actually somewhat recently found like a bootleg DVD set of it. I haven't cracked it open yet. I'm hoping that the quality is okay. But I don't know if you've seen it recently. It holds up so well. And I was like, wow, why is this better than it should be? Like I was just watching an episode on YouTube. And I looked it up, and Amy Heckerling is executive producing it, writing it. It's basically the actual Clueless movie as a TV show and aged down for like a TGIF audience. But it is so well shot, so well made, so well written. The aesthetic is insane. It's because it's more for kids or like young teens. They make it even more like candy colored and poppy. Like, it is so good.
I gotta rewatch it because I knew Amy was behind it, because I remember reading about how she had said that like a lot of the stuff that she wanted to do with the movie that they weren't able to do, like she was able to put a lot of those ideas into the show. And it's so rare that like the person who was behind the success of the original project does the spin-off. Like, that's so cool.
And also, may I just say, I would say easily the best opening title sequence and song ever made.
Oh my God, that opening, I'll never forget it. It is so, like you said, the aesthetics of it is just, it's so good. But I guess like of these shows that they list, like were you like a part, like what was your like 1990s? Like I know that you loved Buffy. Were you a Party of Five girl?
You know, I wasn't. I was not a Party of Five girl. I was Buffy. And then, I mean, okay, so at this point, other than TGIF, which was appointment television, I would feel like I was more beholden to whatever my mom was watching. So I didn't actually start watching Buffy until like later in the run, where I was watching TV by myself a little bit more. So yeah, the ones that stick out, yeah, all of the like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Teen Angel. I was watching Moesha. But yeah, you know, prior to 2000, I was watching less of my own stuff and more, like, I feel like I was watching way more of Roseanne and Grace Under Fire at this time period.
Grace Under Fire?
Grace?
You got me madder than the Horn Church. I love Grace Under Fire. No, but I feel that very deeply. And I will also say, like, as a little gay black boy, I just can't put into words what Moesha meant to me. I just can't. I just don't even know how to describe it. I really don't. Like, Brandy's impact, like the fact that at that point, it's not like she had become famous for Moesha. She was already so beloved and already like such a teen queen. Like, people don't really talk about this a lot, but Brandy was like kind of the original Britney in a lot of ways. And like,
yeah,
by the time Moesha happened, we already loved her so much. So it was, and Moesha was such a good show. And that was another show that I can remember feeling like I wasn't being talked down to. Like, I remember feeling like, you know, with Moesha's commentary, it almost filled like a My So-Called Life kind of void. Like, she sort of was like the black Claire Danes in that sense.
God, I mean, not that everyone should just be making remakes, but that's a great one to revisit.
It would be a great reboot for sure. Like, adult Brandy as a mom with her daughter being the new Moesha.
And have it be like what the Lizzie McGuire reboot was supposed to be, where this is an actual adult with adult problems.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Hollywood.
Hello.
We've got an idea.
One other thing that I wanted to say about this before we move on from it is that we've been having these Brat Pack conversations, and I just think that they were really stupid not to name these kids.
Yeah.
Because we did group them together, whether they had a name or not. Like, I refer to them as, like, the WB bunch. It's like, and I feel like if you were under that umbrella of WB, it kind of meant it spider-graphed off to these different things. Like, it spider-graphed off to Neutrogena and Clearasil and Herbal Essences and Got Milk and, like, all of these things that we would sort of expect to see them in, like, and then they would all act together. So it was like, you know, Sarah Michelle and Ryan Phillippe in this movie, and then in this movie is, you know, like they were a Brat Pack, but they just didn't have a name.
Do you know what it is, I think? So we have the Brat Pack, and then we have the Pussy Posse, the two names that of a group of actors that caught on in the zeitgeist.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of those names had a negative connotation to it. Like, at this point, in the article, Jennifer Love Hewitt says, "Oh, I'd love to be considered a part of a Brat Pack with these girls." But back when the Brat Pack was coined, it was like, "Oh, you're brats." That a negative connotation. These are bratty shithead actors. And then the Pussy Posse, obviously, that has a negative connotation. And I feel like this group of actors, they weren't getting into scandals. They seemed like very nice, professional young people. So I think it would be hard for a journalist to coin a name that people are really into and latch on to, because people are mean and they suck. And
that's true. No, but you're right.
They're only going to latch on to something negative.
Yeah. Oh, I miss it. I miss the original WB. I miss that frog, baby.
That was a beautiful time.
It was. That was like, do you remember those WB commercials where it would be like every star from the network? It was like the original Bravo universe.
I was about to say that. We need to do more of those commercials.
Yeah, where it's like, we're at the back lot in Hollywood, and like Sarah Michelle Gellar's like on a ladder, you know, like it's just very like Angel from Buffy's like turning like a Hollywood spotlight towards the camera, you know, it's very backlot.
Old Hollywood glamour. Bring back the glamour to Hollywood, please.
So we move on to, this is actually kind of a double page conversation. So page 62 and page 90 both talk about Boogie Nights, which at this time is new. It's the movie that everybody's talking about. I mean, I don't know if I've ever told you this, Dara, but I used to collect vintage porn in college. It was one of my first collections.
Oh, like VHSs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I love this.
Yeah, because my roommates and I would like watch porn together. Like, it was like a thing. Like, we would like get really wasted and like watch like weird porns, and like we didn't know that was weird.
Oh, well, I was going to say it's not weird. I also sort of did that with my friends, but maybe we're both just the same sort of weird.
Yeah.
So write in. Is that weird?
Let us know. Is it like weird to watch porn with your friends? That's our like teen people like question of the day.
Okay, but hold up 1 second. It's like weird porn, you know? Does that make it better?
Like, it's funny, like haha or whatever, you know? But we would, and especially like I would, well, specifically like I loved like 80s porn. I loved like 70s and 80s porn that had, you know, at that time porn had like big budgets and real directors and releases at the theater. And I mean, movies like Deep Throat and like Debbie Does Dallas and stuff, like those are what I would collect, and I loved them. And we would have wine nights and watch these like vintage porns. So Boogie Nights to me really, really like spoke to me a lot.
I would say that Boogie Nights is my second favorite movie of all time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that. It is absolutely the greatest thing that Mark Wahlberg will ever do. I'll say Fear is a very close second, but Boogie Nights is just beyond words.
I hate that he's such a dork now that it doesn't even seem like he appreciates the movie.
I know. And it's so crazy because at this time, like, you couldn't tell me shit about Mark Wahlberg. Like, he was one of the loves of my life. I can't tell you how many times I watched him beat his chest in fear. Like, I remember as like a teenager being like, Reese Witherspoon's a bitch. I was like, why doesn't she just love him?
He loves her so much. That's why he's always around.
That's right. He carved Nicole Forever into his chest with a blade. He literally loves her. She's such a little bitch. So I just thought it would be funny to read a current, at the time, review of Boogie Nights, which was in theaters still. It says, Boogie Nights, rated R. It offers a purer hit of exhilaration than any movie this year. Writer-director Paul Thomas Anderson traces the rise and fall of Eddie Adams, played by Mark Wahlberg, a San Fernando Valley busboy who becomes Dirk Diggler, the hottest name in the adult film business. Dirk's fortunes parallel the shifts in the porn industry, from the bedazzled hedonism of the late 70s to the capitalist narcissism of the 80s. For all its bravura, the most shocking aspect of Boogie Nights is its tenderness. And Entertainment Weekly gave it an A.
It is so tender.
What's your favorite scene in Boogie Nights? Like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of that movie?
I wonder if you can guess.
I do have an idea.
Lay it on me, baby.
In my mind, it's Roller Girl.
You're half right. It's the scene between Heather Graham and Julianne Moore as Amber Waves, where they're on a total coke bender. And they're sitting on the bed facing each other, and they're like, do you want to be my mom? I'll be your mom. I'll be your mom.
Oh, my God.
Be my mom.
Oh, my God. I forgot about that scene.
Honey, you'll find me quoting that one if you hang around long enough.
So what's interesting is the reason that I started my 80s and 70s porn collection was because of this movie called Amanda by Night, which was this cop drama, but also porn. And it came out like at the peak of like the golden era of porn. So it had like a huge budget and like a soundtrack. Like, it's a real, as Harry Styles would say, like a real movie. And it's so good. And Amanda, the lead, she is who Julianne Moore portrays in Boogie Nights. She's this beautiful, stunningly gorgeous, badass woman who became the first female porn director. And she became the most prominent female porn director of all time. She's such an icon. And so that was like my tie to Boogie Nights, where I was like, oh, I'm really going to love this movie.
I love Julianne Moore in this movie so much.
I mean, we love her in general so much, but in this movie specifically, my Lord have mercy.
Besides this one, what's your favorite Julianne Moore?
Oh, that's really difficult. Let me pull up IMDb real quick so I say the right answer. Because then I'll listen to this back later and be like, that doesn't represent me.
What is the Julianne Moore that made you say Julianne Moore's for you?
I'm like, her existence. It's hard for me to pick just one. I have a handful. I have just a small handful, okay?
Give it to me, baby.
So Savage Grace is a really good one, where she plays this like eccentric mother who is like a too close of a relationship with her son. Haha.
Ooh, I don't know if I've seen that or not, actually.
That's a really good one. The Hours, I think, is absolutely incredible. I think The Hours is one of the most underrated movies of all time.
The Hours, the nose.
The putty nose heard round world. Yeah, I really, really like The Hours. That would probably be my favorite. What about you?
Oh, Safe.
Yes.
Safe by Todd Haynes. Todd Haynes, who also directed the most recent one, May December.
Mm-hmm.
So Safe, and then also Magnolia.
I mean, I was going to say, like, I have to mention Magnolia. Oh my God.
Of course.
It is so good. Have you ever seen The Hand That Rocks the Cradle?
No, I have not. I'm adding it to my movie list. I have a must-watch list.
It is so Dara coded. It is such a you movie. Oh my God. It's a really great 90s thriller. Just like the peak 90s thriller, sexual erotic thriller. Like, you would love it. But yeah, so we also have like a little section because the Boogie Nights soundtrack was a big deal.
It's such a good soundtrack.
It's really incredible. And there's a little article in here about the soundtrack, which was doing really, really well at the same time as the movie.
Oh, it's page 90.
So I actually listened to the soundtrack in preparation for this episode, and
so did I.
She's now been added to to my phone and will be in the rotation.
What's your favorite song on it?
So one of my favorite songs of all time is God Only Knows by the Beach Boys.
Listen, honey, let me tell you about how I think the Beach Boys are better than the Beatles, because I will tell you that.
Oh my goodness. Holy shit.
God Only Knows is incredible.
So good. What's your favorite on the soundtrack?
I love It's a Livin' Thing. Also, the band who did that song, they also did the whole soundtrack to Xanadu.
Oof.
Electric Light Orchestra. But my favorite song on that album is Brand New Key by Melanie. Rest in peace. That was like one of my favorite songs since I was a kid.
We're such like literal old souls. Like we were teenagers who were 84 years old.
Literally.
But yeah, if you guys haven't, we don't have to go super deep into the article about the soundtrack, but highly suggest that you guys give it a whirl and rewatch Boogie Nights if you haven't seen it in a while.
And if you haven't seen it at all, please.
Oh my God, write in and let us know what you thought about it.
There was one quote in this that annoyed me. So on page 90, they're talking about Paul Thomas Anderson, the director, and it says, "He can wax defensive when critics tar all the nightclub selections in the early scenes with the D word. Quote, maybe people think it's disco because you're in a discotheque, but the Emotions' Best of My Love, to me, it's a soul song, like a Supreme song, but in 1977. End quote. I'm sorry? If you're anti-disco, you are racist, homophobic, and misogynistic. Thank you very much.
Like literally, the anti-disco thing is so fucking tired. Like reading about people being anti-disco, and it's all just like steeped in what you just said, racism, a lot of homophobia. It's very similar to people being anti-pop in like the 2000s.
Absolutely.
Because it's geared towards women and young girls, and even though we weren't talking about it, the gays, you know? So but somehow it's lowbrow, but like your alternative rock VH1 album is like to be respected and nobody can say anything negative about it, and if you do, then you don't like real music. It gives that vibe.
Have you ever seen the documentary? It's about the Disco Demolition Day in 1979.
I have.
Eye-opening documentary, but it basically tells the story of the beginnings of the anti-disco movement and this day that they had where this radio host got everyone to what was the White Sox stadium and had them all bring disco records, and they destroyed them on the field and it kind of turned into a riot. But basically, yeah, it was this DJ who got sick of the fact that he was seeing more and more disco that he had to play instead of his classic rock shit, and he was starting to feel replaced. And it talks about how it was rooted in racism because it was Black people making most of the music and women performing most of it, and then it's for women and gay men. But also one complaint that a lot of men had was that it was forcing them to learn how to dance and dress up to meet women or accompany their wives, and God fucking bid you put on a snappy outfit and then make your wife happy for once in her goddamn life.
It's so frustrating to look back at times where we gave men so much power. Like nowadays we would be like, shut the fuck up, and it wouldn't go any further than that. We would literally just be like, shut the fuck up, your opinion means as much as a grain of sand on a beach. There should be a documentary about all the different times that we have destroyed music publicly. It's like a thing. Like there have been just random moments in history where people go outside and like destroy CDs or albums or whatever, and it's like so performative and stupid.
You know, it's also very footloose.
Yeah.
I feel like people are so afraid of dancing and music because it is the full expression of the human spirit. And it galvanizes people so much. I mean, imagine if we never had Fred Durst or Korn or any of these like angry, disgusting white boy music from that time period. How it influenced a generation.
Imagine if we didn't have Eminem thinking that his social commentary is like the most important.
I remember when My Name Is was on TRL. That video made me so mad as a little budding feminist. They were making fun of everything I held near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. Seriously. And it gave other kids the right to attack us for stuff that we liked for no reason. Even though when you think about it, it's like, you guys are all fucking pop stars. You can put on a FUBU tracksuit or a bedazzled pair of cow print pants, and baby, you are still on TRL standing next to 98 Degrees announcing Mandy Moore. So shut the fuck up.
Honey, there's nothing gayer than singing and dancing.
Hello.
Okay, so sorry. You're gay too, just like the rest of us.
And all that jazz. So before we end the episode, obviously we have to talk about some of the ads. This magazine has some really great ads. Last week we talked about how like the 80s was such an amazing period for advertisements and magazines, and it's interesting to see like how much it's changed.
Because in just a short decade, they already suck.
They suck. They're so bad. First of all, they're just ugly.
If there are any marketing experts out there, if you can tell us why ads got so ugly, we'd love to know.
There's one really interesting one on page 39. It's for this machine called the US Robotics 56K, and it's basically streaming, but there's no word for streaming yet, and it's a way for you to digitally watch movies from movielink.com, and it says the movies are suspenseful enough. You shouldn't have to wait for the previews to download. So this was like a really, really, really early internet way to download movies and television shows.
On page 30, okay, it is really ugly still, but I do sort of like the vibe. It's a Tanqueray Sterling vodka ad. Oh, Tanqueray vodka. They don't still make that, do they?
Whoa, I just realized what you said. Yeah, they don't make that. Because I'm a Tanqueray girl.
Same. I'm a gin queen.
Me too.
Love a Tanqueray.
Me too. Give me a little gin, a little soda, a lot of lime.
But it's all little cutouts, basically, I don't know, collaged onto a piece of paper, which I would love to know the technology at this time for Photoshop. Like, I feel like there could have actually been someone cutting out these pictures and layering them onto each other.
Yeah.
Which, that has some charm. I'll say that.
It gives, if you guys are former Bad Girls Club fans, it gives the opening of Bad Girls Club with the head bobbing, like the collage bodies. Another ad that I really loved is on page 15. I don't know if you remember Tyra Banks's Swatch campaign, but it's always interesting to see Tyra purely as a model in these old magazines.
I like to see Tyra doing her early work.
Yeah.
Of modeling.
She's nude. She's serving fierce. She has caught the wind of the fan. All of the things that she preaches, she is doing in this photo. I have to be honest. She's smizing. And if you Google Tyra Banks Swatch, you'll be greeted with like a ton of pictures of her wearing like 40 Swatch bracelets, like on red carpets and stuff, like showing them off. She really leaned into this campaign.
As only Tyra could. That's a professional who commits.
Yeah.
Always.
Yes. But my favorite ad, and the one that I think we should end with, is on page 105. And it is an advertisement for the Entertainment Weekly merch store.
Oh.
And they have a little preview of some of the merch that you can buy in 97. And I'm going to need to get my hands on a couple of these tings.
Oh, I shrieked when I brushed upon this page, seeing two extremely ugly Fran Drescher the nanny dolls.
They are hideous, but they are so cool. And they're, first of all, they're like wearing the Moschino outfits. She's wearing like
the red and leopard print little suit that she wears in the opening credits.
They're so scary looking. They look like a parody of a doll.
It looks like someone took an Eddie Munster doll and just like, they're like, oh, we made 1 million of these Eddie Munster dolls and they're not selling like we thought. Let's just add some long hair on it and put them in a dress. Eddie Munster from, God, what is it? Not the Addams Family, the other one.
The Munsters. Hello.
Duh, you idiot. God. It's just the most aggressive widow's peak I have ever seen. It's offensive. It feels anti-Semitic.
It is. It does. Now I can't unsee it. I can't unsee Eddie Munster. I will say, I bet you, as a person who, I watch a lot of like doll content, like old, I don't want to get into that, but
yeah, that's what you can keep to yourself, Troy.
That's between me, myself, and I. But I will tell you, I bet these clothes have real like zippers and closures. I bet, because like that gold skirt is everything.
I can just tell from the picture that it has a weight to it, you know?
For sure. There's also some South Park memorabilia, a little I Love Lucy moment. There's a Frasier sweatshirt that I absolutely need. I was a big Frasier girl.
Oh, see, Troy, this is the one thing where we diverge in the woods. My parents were always watching Frasier, and I hated it. And I think it was mostly because it was like a lot of boys. I did like Roz, though.
Hey, baby, I hear the blues. I can't land on and scrambled. That's nice. Yeah, I was like, yeah, my family loved Frasier, and I don't even, looking back, I'm like, damn, picturing myself as like a 10-year-old boy.
Just like, oh, I love that Frasier Crane. He loves his fancy wine.
Here comes Niles. Everybody watch. But yeah, so as always, we are going to continue this conversation on Patreon. Let's see, what do I have written down from my Patreon articles? There's a Macaulay Culkin article that looks like it's very interesting. There's one that's called And the Teen Beat Goes On. I mean, that's just, the title alone tells you what that's going to be. There's like some more like Brat Packy kind of stuff happening. Yeah, I'm very excited. This magazine is like so good.
It's everything, Troy, just like you.
But as always, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for being so supportive of Dara and I's newborn baby. It's been really, really fun so far. Again, we are so open to ideas, thoughts, themes, segments, whatever.
Vibes.
Yeah, vibes.
But I don't know what that would encompass, but...
Send us all of your vibe recommendations, please. And please do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It would mean so much to us. And don't forget to send us letters to the editors, and we will read them on this very show that you're listening to right now.
And we'll do a roundup of all of them every week or every month on our Instagram, you know? So it will be immortalized.
It's how you'll become famous.
Yes, yes. Listen, we're bringing everyone up. Rising tides lift all boats.
Don't you want your origin story to be that you wrote a letter to our podcast that's had 4 episodes? Yeah. I never know how to say bye.
I don't either, because I just go like, oh, wait, we could close it out with, from the show Popular, the first episode, cancel my subscription. I'm over your issues.
Oh, our Housewives tagline.
Yes.
We love you guys very much. We adore you, and thank you so much for supporting us, and we'll see you next week.
See you next time.
Bye.
Kisses.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Love music?
We do too.
Well, if you ever feel like it's hard to keep up, though, don't worry. We're here to help.
Monday through Friday, Daily Music Headlines gets you the top happenings in music, from chart toppers, news releases, concert announcements, and more.
All in less than 5 minutes.
Don't miss out. Get the show at dailymusicheadlines.com.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.